during the Fonti International. But before we go ahead, let me bring to the show my next guest, Youssef Alshammari, Editor-in-Chief, CMarkits. Good evening, Youssef, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening, Alexandra. Thank you so much for having me.
Youssef, you know, it's pretty interesting at the very beginning of our, how can I say, guest and host relationship. We have been talking a lot for the Brexit because at the end your company is based in London and certainly it's going to have huge impact on businesses if we have a hard exit or not. And right now, October is extremely, I mean, it's a crucial moment for the Brexit drama, which is going on more than 2 years, probably 2 years and a few months already. Do you think, according to actually the last reportings, deal between the EU and the UK might happen? What is your take instead?
Well, I believe this is a very good development between the EU and the United Kingdom, trying to reach a conciliation on ending this unresolved issue, on having a deal to enable the United Kingdom to leave the EU without having a major impact on both sides, neither in the European Union nor in the United Kingdom, especially in terms of the economic impact. Of course, as you see, many companies already in the United Kingdom have had this issue has had many detrimental consequences on some of the businesses in the United Kingdom. Just look at just last month, we had a bankruptcy being filed for a major aviation company like Thomas Cook. And I believe that the economic consequences could even follow as a result of not reaching a deal between the EU and the United Kingdom on this major issue. In addition, look at just the currency prices. The euro currency has declined very significantly over the past period, as well as the British pound. And that shows you that the economic consequences of this issue has been of a significant impact. So reaching a deal now between the two sides will certainly, of course, both sides will need to make compromises in order to minimize the impact. And I believe this is a very good development. But however, there still remain some challenges, especially regarding the issue of Northern Ireland. Because, as you know, there is the borders between the Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. If the United Kingdom is out of the EU, then there needs to be the relationship between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland will have to be re-amended. And it cannot be that Northern Ireland will act something like a backdoor for the EU if the situation continues in the same fashion as it was when the United Kingdom was within the EU. So I believe it's a very good development, and I do hope that within the next hours we will hear an agreement between the United Kingdom and Britain and the EU.
And in case we wouldn't hear an agreement, we're all, of course, looking forward the major wires and everything and news outlets to hear what is going on actually during the Brexit talks. If we wouldn't see an agreement this evening or till the end of the week, do you think we're going to see general elections in the United Kingdom?
I think that is possible, yes. Because, as you see, the Labour Party has been working very hard and doing a significant campaign on making an amendment to this Brexit referendum. And Boris Johnson, if the Brexit negotiation does not succeed under Boris Johnson, then it's highly likely that the general elections can follow after the 31st of October.
Well, if this is going to happen, it's really going to be hot out there. Certainly, we're going to follow the developments. I would like to move to the energy sector right now because we also saw some movements in the last few days. Let me have a very quick look at the WTI so far trading $53.35 per barrel, which is up by 0.9%, and Brent $59 per barrel, positive by 0.75% this evening. Well, Youssef, first of all, what is your outlook? What is the CMarkits outlook for the last quarter of 2019? Is the fourth and last quarter of 2019, first of all? And secondly, we're going to discuss about the OPEC. Let's first have a look at the first question.
All right. Number one, we have last week we have revised our supply and demand outlooks and stock movements. And as you know, there's been a recent report published by OPEC, the oil monthly report, as well as a recent report also published by the IEA and also the EIA, where all the forecasting agencies have published their supply and demand outlook for 2019 and 2020. That's why we have revised our data last week. Regarding number one, I'll inform you on what our data shows compared with the forecasting agencies. There is a significant decline in the world economy, which has been expected to grow at 3.2 in 2019, and now the IMF has reduced the global growth to 3%. And in 2020, the global growth speed also declined from 3.5 to 3.2%. So this decline from the IMF shows that the oil market, the growth in the oil demand will maybe much slower than what we expect. Currently, we expect a global increase in the oil demand in 2020 at about 1 million barrels in 2020. And in 2019, we see a growth that is just hovering around 800,000 barrels. However, the issue now is if OPEC continues to supply the market and there has been a major refreshment for the economy as a result of the United States trade war with China, and if we do not see, for example, a major growth in the oil demand due to other economic factors, including the PMI data coming from Germany, from China, and from other industrial countries, then certainly we may experience a buildup in the inventories, the oil inventories, especially in the United States. We see a global growth in the inventories at about 60 million barrels in 2020. And that may reduce prices going forward. So I think from now until the OPEC meets in December, we will continue to follow how the price is following. By the way, the prices now are not so bad, because if you look at them, they are just hovering around $60, and we expected that because there was a major decline in prices at about 57 for Brent prices and over the past week. And we expected that prices will reach an equilibrium in this week. And that's what we are seeing. So now, sorry?
Absolutely. I was exactly saying that prices are not bad, as you said, but I don't think they're the exact target of OPEC. And here is the thing. Do you expect that the OPEC is going to cut outputs additionally on their December meeting?
This is likely. However, it depends if prices continue to be at the level that they are currently, if they do not decline any further. I will not expect that OPEC will make any further cuts unless we see a significant decline in the prices from their current level moving towards the next 3 months. And that will mainly depend on how the United States and China will handle the trade deal.
Exactly. Certainly, the trade spat between the U.S. and China is one of the major factors. Yusuf, on the other side, we do witness a little bit of tensions between Turkey and the Kurds in Syria. Do you think this story might have impact on the oil price, in your opinion?
Well, it's a global political issue between the Turkish and the Kurdish. And it certainly affects the geopolitical risk in the region. However, as you know, because prices really react to supply security and demand security as well. And that's why we, in our forecast, we have not factored in the Turkish-Syrian military conflict so far, as we have not seen we do not see it any threat currently to supplies coming from that military conflict yet. However, we do think that it's a major geopolitical security issue in the region.
Well, certainly, Youssef, on the other side, I just want to have a very quick look at the major U.S. Energy giants. If we have a look, they're all sinking today. Chevron is down by almost 0.5%, Exxon 1.5% in the red, ConocoPhillips down by 2.14%, Occidental Petroleum 0.5% in the red. I mean, it's not a good day. It haven't been a good time for the energy sector in the U.S. On the other side, actually the earnings season just kick-started yesterday. What do you expect from the earnings of the U.S. major giants, energy giants, considering that in the third quarter, the WTI and Brent were definitely in a bear market?
Certainly we track stock movements of Chevron and Exxon in the United States, and we've seen that their prices have they made some good gains during the sharp spike of crude prices in September. However, these gains now are, of course, they have now mainly followed the price movement, and now they are mainly in a bearish market. So I would expect, because by the way, some companies, when you want to evaluate their financial earnings, we cannot just make a judgment based on the crude price movement and their stock prices, because they may have other investments that make them more resilient towards the oil prices. So I certainly I may expect an impact of the bearish market of oil market. However, I also expect them to be somehow a little bit resilient, given the financial performance that we have seen by many of these companies back in 2018.
Well, certainly they might have very different investments, but you know, the U.S. oil prices have lost about 26% over the past year, together with the SPDR, S&P Oil and Gas Exploration and Production Exchange Traded Fund, which is pretty serious amount of a percentage. That's why I was asking exactly how much of an impact has the crude price on their earnings. But as you answered already, you don't expect huge impact on their earnings related to the crude price, right?
Well, we expect some impact, but not a very major.
All right. On the other side, Youssef, you know, there were scoops on the Wall Street Journal that Saudi Aramco is headed to its IPO on the domestic market. What are your insights? Are we heading to an IPO finally?
It's been a long-awaited IPO, and it was initially announced that it's going to happen on the 20th of October. And then there's been a delay until now. I just read an article on Financial Times that it's going to be by November. So I believe I would wait and follow until November, but I think, it's happening very soon. But it's less than 5%. It's around 3% from the total shares of the company. But I think, it's happening very soon in the Saudi Stock Exchange market.
Well, that's extremely interesting. Good news are coming then. Let's see what is going to happen. Thank you very much, Youssef Alshammari, Editor-in-Chief, CMarkits. Thank you for joining us.
Always a pleasure, Alexander. Thank you for having me.
Have a great evening, Youssef.